All right, let's talk about that one piece of mail we all get, and, let's be honest, sometimes dread opening. We're diving deep into the real cost of your energy bill, and we're using the latest research from the International Energy Agency to do it.
You know that feeling, right? You look at the final number and you just think, how? How does it add up to that? It feels totally disconnected from your actual usage. So what are we really paying for? Well, today we're going to figure that out.
Okay, so to make sense of your bill right now, we've got to rewind a little, because the last few years have been a complete roller coaster when it comes to energy prices. It's been anything but predictable. Just look at this. At the peak of the recent energy crisis back in 2022, household energy bills shot up by a massive 16% in a single year. That kind of jump is a huge shock to family budgets, and it's why energy affordability suddenly became this major political issue practically overnight.
And this timeline really tells the story. Things were pretty calm, then 2020 hits, and with the world on lockdown, energy use plummets. But that didn't last long. As things started to reopen and major geopolitical events shook up the supply chain, prices didn't just bounce back, they went through the roof. And here's the kicker. Even though things have calmed down a bit from that peak, we're still paying about 4% more than we were before the whole crisis started. That's the new reality we're all feeling.
So with prices staying stubbornly high, let's get into the nitty-gritty. When you pay that bill, where does the money actually go? It's time to decode it.
Now, this is so important to understand. There's what's called the wholesale cost. That's what it costs to, actually make the electricity at a power plant. But that's not what we pay. We pay the retail price, and that includes the cost of the entire grid to get the power to your home, plus a bunch of taxes. And in a lot of places, those extra costs can literally double the original price of the power itself. And here's a perfect breakdown. You see that big chunk? That's not just the electricity you used. That's the cost of the power, plus the massive network of poles and wires and everything else it takes to deliver it. Then the rest is made up of taxes and other fees. So yeah, you're paying for a whole lot more than just the energy that powers your lights.
But here's where the story gets more complicated, because these high prices don't affect everyone the same way, not even close. And that brings us to what's called the affordability gap, which is really a tale of two completely different worlds.
And I mean, look at this contrast. In advanced economies, the problem is simple: high cost. Energy is available, but for the poorest families, it's becoming crushing. But in developing economies, the challenge is much more basic. It's not about the price of electricity. It's about not having any electricity at all. That number, 730 million people, it's so big it's almost hard to picture. So think about it this way. That's like the entire population of the United States times 2 living completely off the grid. It's just an unimaginable scale of energy poverty. And even in places where people do have access, just look at this gap. What we're looking at is the energy burden, basically the slice of your income that goes just to energy. For the lowest income households, it's a staggering 20%. That's double what a median income family pays. And of course, that means way less money for food, rent, education, everything. And that financial squeeze, honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The inability to afford enough energy has deep and sometimes truly tragic consequences that go way beyond just a monthly bill. This number is it's staggering. 4.5 million. Globally, that's how many deaths each year are linked to cold exposure. And a huge reason for that is energy poverty, people who simply can't afford to heat their homes to a safe temperature. And it's not just the cold. At the same time, we have the opposite crisis happening. As the world gets warmer, not being able to afford cooling is becoming a massive threat. In just the last 20 years, the exposure of vulnerable people to dangerous heat waves has quadrupled. If you can't afford an air conditioner or even a fan, extreme heat can be deadly. So what can we do? Well, the good news is there's a really powerful solution: investing in energy efficiency. And the payoff is incredible. The IEA's data shows that for every single dollar you spend making a home more efficient, think insulation, better windows, society saves up to $2.50 in health costs. It's a total win-win. Okay, so we know the problem, and we know a key solution. So what are governments actually doing about all of this? Let's take a look at the policy response. And listen, there is a lot of action. The IEA is tracking over 120 new policies just in the past year across 45 different countries. A lot of them are focused on exactly what we just talked about: retrofitting homes, promoting efficient appliances, and even offering cheaper transportation. The world is definitely paying attention.
But, and this is the big but, with all this activity and all this money being spent, are we actually helping the households that are struggling the most? In this chart, this really gets to the heart of the problem. A full 2/3 of these government support policies are untargeted. That just means they're available to everyone, whether you're a billionaire or you're struggling to make rent. Only 1/3 of the policies are specifically targeted to give help directly to the low-income families feeling that huge energy burden.
And that brings us right to the main conclusion from the International Energy Agency. Making energy affordable for everyone isn't just about spending more money. It's about spending it smarter. Targeted action that goes directly to the people who are most in need, that's the real key to bringing down bills for good. So maybe the next time you look at your bill, the question isn't just, where does my money go, but are we doing enough to help those who can least afford it? Thanks for joining me.